And so that's really when I started looking around for teaching jobs. I did relief teaching in schools, so substitute teaching. And I also thought, well, why don't I be a piano teacher? I know how to play this instrument, and I'm a teacher, like I'm a classroom teacher. Surely I can teach piano. And so I decided to start teaching. And it was during this period of time that I took on a student who was doing his grade 4 exam. He was kind of halfway to preparing for that. And I suddenly realized I had no idea what I was doing.
You're listening to the Topcast, the original podcast for growth-minded instrumental music and voice teachers since 2015, with your host, Tim Topham. Our mission at Top Music is to empower instrumental music and voice teachers to find and nurture their innate creativity so that they can teach lessons that are innovative, integrated, and inspiring, and that will have a positive, lifelong impact on their students. Join us each week as we interview teachers and creators from around the world and unpack fun and exciting ideas to maximize your teaching and studio business success.
Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the Topcast. It's Tim here, and in today's episode, we're taking a quick break from our look at online teaching this month to this, which I'm recording on video as well, so make sure you check it out on YouTube, which is my speech to everybody who was at our TopMusicPro 10-year dinner during TopMusicLive. And I thought it would be fun to share this here because one of the things I would like to do in just a moment is mention our 10-year members. But before that, I thought it'd be fun to just share where this community came from. Communities like TopMusicPro don't just appear. They take years to grow. And the pinnacle of that really was TopMusicLive, where we had so many of our community in the room all sharing in that one experience together. But it's taken many years to get here. I started the blogging back in 2010 and the community back in 2016, 10 years ago. And it's taken that long to get it where it is now. So let me run through a little bit of the background. I think you might enjoy it. And definitely, if you are listening to this on the podcast, make sure you check it out on YouTube. We'll leave a link to that so that you can actually see the slides which I'm presenting as well. Music come to be. Well, I was always a fairly musical kid, and I started learning from my teacher when I was 8. And you can see in this image here, this is my sister and me at the piano with my brother looking on. There's me with some weird tea towel on my head. I'm not sure what that's there for. And then me at school at the grand piano playing for some kind of event. And then me with my brother-in-law smoking cigars at the grand piano. Not really the done thing, but a classic moment in time. So I did have a lot of music all through my childhood. But then I guess when I left school, I did go to university. I studied a Bachelor of Music. But after that, I actually got into outdoor education and teaching more generally, and I traveled to other countries and I taught in all sorts of different places. I ended up being a head of outdoor education in a school, Guildford Grammar School in Perth. I then went to Tasmania for a year, so I did all sorts of different things. But it was around about 2007 I came back to Melbourne, and I decided that I wanted to be a dance music producer. And how cool did I look? I mean, look at these pictures. Me in my studio, and me with the cool sunglasses on. My producer name was Fourth Nation. And you can actually check out some of the remixes that I did way back if you go to my YouTube channel and go all the way back. If you like The Neverending Story, then there's a remix of that there. There's a remix of some Australian tunes, some classic 80s hits. That's what I was loving doing. But it was not a great way to spend, anything up to 30 hours in my bedroom studio creating a track and then not make any money from it. And so that's really when I started looking around for teaching jobs. I did relief teaching in schools, so substitute teaching. And I also thought, well, why don't I be a piano teacher? I know how to play this instrument. And I'm a teacher, like I'm a classroom teacher. Surely I can teach piano. And so I decided to start teaching. And it was during this period of time that I took on a student who was doing his grade 4 exam. He was kind of halfway to preparing for that. And I suddenly realized I had no idea what I was doing. And so this is when I reconnected with my childhood teacher. This is a photo of me and Miss Mac about that time, right next to my bright red feature wall in my house. What was I thinking? Miss Mac took me under her wing and taught me everything that she could possibly teach me. She gave me all of her resources and she gave me confidence, most importantly, and really sort of helped to explain what are the examiners going to be looking for? What do they expect from a performance like this at grade 4 level? And it just sparked my interest. It was a huge eye-opening experience for me because At that stage, I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do. The dance music wasn't paying the bills, so I knew I needed to do something. But what that something was, I didn't think was going to be piano teaching. But isn't it interesting how these things happen? Suddenly, I was teaching piano and I was really, really loving it. In fact, I was loving it so much that, and I was traveling to students' houses, that I thought, well, how cool would it be to get a motorcycle so I didn't have to spend so much money on fuel? Ever the practical guy I am. So here's me on my bright yellow motorcycle heading off to teach students in their homes. That's what I did, just like so many of us. I mean, I think if I said, put your hand up at a teacher's conference, how many of you started by being a traveling teacher, traveling to other students' houses? Even if it was the next door neighbour's kid when you were only 16 or 17, then a lot of hands would go up. We all often start that way, don't we? And there's nothing wrong with that at all. And that's how I found my first students and started to really get the hang of this teaching thing. And it was about this time as well, so about 2010, we're moving along to now, that I started recording videos. So this one's actually from 2012. This is one of my first teaching videos, and quality is exactly what you're looking at right now. So that pixelated quality is the quality of the video that I first recorded. It's still on YouTube. What's it got? 17,000 views, not too bad. And it was about teaching the 12-bar blues. Because what I found that I was doing was teaching kids things at a school at this time, and other teachers were going, that sounds really cool. How do you do that? The thing that I'm doing with them. And so I thought, well, why don't I share this more widely? And that really was the start of me recording videos around that 2011, 2010, and then starting to build an audience. So I created a blog on WordPress. This is how it looked, very grungy. Even me with my modeling shot there. I mean, classic. I started blogging and started building this audience of teachers, and I know many of you will have been around at this time. And I was trying to learn as much as I possibly could myself. I was reading so many books. I was going to lectures, masterclasses, workshops, recitals, concerts, and just trying to absorb everything I could about piano playing and teaching. And what I would do is I'd come back and write it. I'd write a blog about it. I'd share what I'd learnt. And that was really how I captured my audience at the start. I also found a video recording of my original blog welcome video. I don't know how many of you remember this one, but let me play a little bit of it.
Hi, welcome to timtopham.com. Thank you very much for stopping by my blog, and I hope you enjoy what you find here and find it useful in your studio. I started this blog in about 2010 when I realised that some of the things I was doing in my studio weren't all that familiar to other teachers, and they were having great success. So I thought, what a great way to share some of these ideas with people around the world. Since then, it's grown in popularity, and I'd love for you to become a member of the community we've got here by subscribing, and also by leaving your thoughts on some of the posts and articles that you find here. I love hearing what other teachers are doing around the world, and I love learning from them just as much as you'll hopefully learn from some of the ideas that I've got here. Enjoy the site, and I look forward to communicating with you online or at a conference very soon.
I mean, how young do I look? Oh my goodness. And I recorded this in my house at the time. It was all very low key, low budget. I did get the nice, fuzzy background kind of look, even before iPhones could do that with a click of a button. But I really wanted to help teachers and share the knowledge that I had and help knowledge around as well. And so, so a year or so later, around 2013-ish, I had enough people in my email list that I thought I should ask them, okay, well, I'm doing all this blogging and stuff. What do you want help with? What can I help you with? What is the biggest pain that you have at the moment? And it was really clear what that pain point was. It was teaching pop music. Teachers just were not sure how to go about teaching pop songs when the rhythm was, all 30-second notes and dotted this and that and incredibly difficult to play. And most teachers didn't know the music that the students were wanting to play or know that they were allowed to teach this kind of music. And so I thought, all right, I'm going to help with this. I'm going to create a course about it. And so this was the first course that I created. I remember distinctly in 2014, I think it was. I was teaching at Xavier College at this stage, and I set aside a holiday period. It was like September holidays. I set aside 2 weeks to record all the videos. I edited everything myself. It was all manual, all done by me. and I put out my first course, which was called PianoFlix, how to teach pop music to your piano students. And I released this right at the end of 2014. And I know some of you listening or watching will have been affiliates for that, helping me promote it. And there will be many of you who bought this first ever course. And this really was the start of me being able to create a living for myself from helping teachers online and be able to eventually build it into the membership. So one other thing that I did find while I was sort of looking back on things is this most embarrassing video that I recorded to sell Pop PianoFlix one. Then, well, you're in for a treat. Here we go. Hey piano teachers, what's your first reaction when a student brings a piece of pop music into a piano lesson? Is it... or maybe it's... what about... Whatever your reaction, pop music is here to stay, and I'm here to help you understand just how important and useful it can be in modern piano teaching. I expect just about every piano teacher has had the... If you want to watch the whole of that, I'm sure it's somewhere online. It's so embarrassing. By the way, if you're listening to this and you're wondering what the screaming is, it was some Catherine Tate clips, and also at that stage there was a meme of the screaming goat. And so I thought, well, that's very current. I'll bring that in. Anyway, so this was the video that went on the sales page to sell this course. And yeah, it went live New Year's Eve, I'm pretty sure, 2014. Or that was the cart closing period, actually, because I remember it started to really pick up on New Year's Eve, and I was out having some drinks with the family or friends or whatever it was, and these payment receipts came through. And I remember the first time I ever got one of these for this course, it was PayPal saying, you've got some cash. And anyone who's sold something online will remember that first payment and the change that it makes in you going, wow, I did that. Like this has actually worked. And it gave me a huge buzz. PianoFlix did sell really well and has been used by thousands of teachers around the world and has helped them. And it is still part of our membership. And thankfully, it is completely evergreen. The content in that course is just as relevant now as it was then, because I don't talk about how to teach specific pop songs. I teach you how to teach any pop song. Just like the parable about, don't give a man a fish, teach him how to fish. And I've always thought that that's the best way to go about helping teachers as well. So this course, as I said, started selling 2014. By 2015, I was getting lots and lots of questions from teachers about it. Can I have some more help? What do I do with this? And I was responding as much as I could to emails. And I thought, you know what? This is just a bit crazy. Wouldn't it be great if people could post these questions somewhere where everyone could see them and maybe other people could chime in and help and everyone can learn from the answers that I'm giving, etc. And that's when I really started thinking, oh, maybe a membership site could work really well here. And that was when I started putting together what was then the Inner Circle, which was the genesis of this community called TopMusicPro, which is now 10 years old. So this site launched to all of those people on my email list and the people who'd bought PianoFlix back in March 2016. And I know that there are people listening to the podcast right now who were there and who are still members, and they signed up for a great price. They signed up for $149 a year as our first ever members. But you know what? It took them, and they're taking a chance on me to create what we've been able to build here at Top Music. Without them and their commitment and their trust in me, this may never have happened. So I cannot thank them enough, and I'm going to mention them all by name in just a moment as we thank them, our new 10-year pros. So this is what the resource library looked like when it first loaded up. It was pretty basic, but it had all the elements that we needed. It had some courses and it had a community, and that's where it all built from. Now, at the dinner to celebrate 10 years at Top Music Live just a couple of weeks ago, I remember distinctly this point in time, which is signified by this picture here. I was going around giving the keynote to a series of conferences around Australia called Daytime, and it was all about technology and music education. And I was at the Perth one in, as I say, about March 2016, and it was later in the year because I'd launched the community in March 2016. So this was probably mid 2016 by this stage. And I had to have a conversation with my partner about, well, you know what? I think this might be time for me to actually try and do this full time, because if I don't do it now, I don't think I'm ever going to know what could have happened if I went in full time. Because at this stage, I was teaching full time. I was speaking at conferences and things, but I was a full time teacher, and it was a very busy role as head of keyboard at Xavier College in Melbourne. And so this was going to be a big leap of faith for both of us, for our family. And so we chatted through it, and we decided, yep, all right, let's go. Let's do it. And so that's the moment, I guess, at which I decided, okay, I'm going to wrap up my full-time teaching and go all in on Top Music and Top Music Pro, the Top Music Pro community. And so, yeah, that was a really pivotal moment in time. Now this is what our website looks like, a little bit different to the grungy website that I showed you at the start. And I think one of the most powerful moments for me in this whole journey has been the opportunity that I had in 2024 to keynote the Music Teachers National Association over in America, in Atlanta. And this is me on stage delivering the keynote. It was an incredible experience. It was something that I had always wanted ever since I went to my first ever conference as a delegate in about 2013, I think it was, or 15. And I said at that MTNA, which was in San Antonio, I said to myself, I want to be up on that stage one day. And I had that opportunity, which was super cool. So really, really powerful moment for me. And I think one of the most important things for me is the people who have helped with Top Music over all of these 10 years. So this picture is the crew that helped me put together Piano Pivot Live back in 2020. And I want to mention and say how proud I am and how powerful it's been having these incredible people, both in my life and also in my business. I want to have a big shout out to these two incredible humans, Mauro and Sara from Italy, who are my developers, who have been with me for years and years. They really saved me from an absolute mess that I got myself in around the time that it was the inner circle, and I was hiring developers from all sorts of places around the world, and it was just a shambles. If you remember back then, you'll, I'm sure, be aware of times when things were just a mess and you couldn't log in, but you stuck with me, so thank you. And then Mauro and Sara came in and took over, and they have led the whole development, the tech side of things ever since, and they've done an incredible job. Could not do it without you guys. Thank you, Mauro and Sara, if you're listening. And then here are just some of the other faces who have been part of Top Music Top Music over all of these years. There's been many people doing many different things, from video editors to YouTube managers to support team to our publishers to blog writers, content creators, everything. And I am so thankful. Many of the faces on screen are still with us today, which is awesome. Others have moved on. But it does take lots of people to make a community like this work. And I'm so thankful for being able to surround myself with these incredible people every day. And over the last 10 years, it's been incredibly powerful. And I know that all of you listening, if you have enjoyed anything that we've put out, if you've learnt from anything that we've shared, if your life has changed or your teaching has changed for the better as a result of any of the things that we've done, then it's not me that you need to thank. It's all of these people that support everything that we do here. So thank you to all the team members who've been with us over the past 10 years and who are still with us today. All right, now to wrap up, I do want to make a really special mention of our 10-year pros. So I'm calling this group of people our 10-year pros. They joined in 2016, and I know very much that the first person on the list, who I'll read them all out in just a second, was the first ever person, I think, to sign up and hand over their hard-earned money to be a part of the community. And they are all still with us. And most excitingly, 3 were with us at TopMusicLive. And so I was able to personally present them with their certificate. So Linda Irvin, Susan Head, and Vera Letamaki were all at TopMusicLive, and we were able to celebrate them there. But for those of you on the list who weren't able to be live with us, here are your announcements. And I'm going to be sending through some certificates to you in the mail. We're going to be updating your profile inside the membership with a new badge, and we're just going to enjoy celebrating during a live Zoom call coming up as well. So, to our 10-year pros, we have Marcus Kreischer, Janice Smith, Barbara Stepp, Lisa Dewar, Diana Tritipo, Catherine Gardner, Wendy Love, Jacinta Gurin, Linda Irvin, who we mentioned before, Christy Kimball, Jackie Silver-Schreck, Linda Frampton, Janine Rinn, Sandy Triplett, Claire Bowes, Robin Watts, Janelle Bracken, Lynette Barney, Julie Jensen, Karen Bartlett, Julie Cooper, Amy Watt, Andrea Bentz, Julia Andrews, Vera Letamaki, Carol Dixon Carr, Catherine Kling, Claire Bennett, Heather Boyd, Laura Young, Susan Head, Sandra Driver, and last but not least, Dee Fisher. Thank you so much to the 32 or so of you who not only entrusted me with your hard-earned money when I first started this, and it was a very small community back then with only 1 or 2 courses in it. You trusted me, and you guys are the ones that have enabled this community to thrive and build over 10 years. So I can't wait for the next 10 years. I can't wait to award some more of these 10-year certificates. Thank you to everyone who's been involved, either as a team member or a member. I know that members come and go, and you may be listening and may be thinking, oh, yeah, maybe I joined in 2016, but you're not a member anymore. I do thank you so much, even though you're not listed here. And I thank anyone who has joined in our membership or taken one of our courses. I really appreciate your support. It's the memberships in particular that allow me to try and help in more ways than I possibly would be able to otherwise. So yes, thanks you to everybody involved. And I will wrap this episode up there. If you'd like to see the video of this, I'll put it on YouTube, of course, if you've just been listening. You can actually see some of those pictures of me on my motorcycle or the grungy website that we started. Crazy video. And thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Topcast, of course, and I will catch you again this time next week. Bye, everyone.
How do you keep up to date with all the latest trends and research into music education? How do you connect with other teachers around the world and make sure your teaching stays fresh and relevant for students of all ages and stages, both now and into the future? I created our Top Music Pro membership to be the one-stop shop for music teaching resources, training, support, and community, and I'd love for you to come and join us inside. With over 40 comprehensive training courses, hundreds of teaching demonstrations and lesson plans, free monthly sheet music, discounts, and all the business and pedagogy support you could ever need, Top Music Pro is the community you've been looking for. If you're ready to level up your learning from the podcast and join thousands of other teachers in our global network, head over to topmusicpro.com today. If you enjoy this show and want to hear more of our work, be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening today. For links and resources mentioned in this episode, visit us at topmusic.co/podcast or check out the show notes. I'm Tim Topham. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy your week ahead, and I'll catch you next time.